There's nothing like homegrown tomatoes, and we have some tips to have a successful crop. So the best thing that you can do for tomatoes is to get your soil ready. So we dug a very deep hole because tomatoes are the one vegetable that you can plant really deep. And you also want to add some garden lime, and for each plant you want to put in about 3 tablespoons at the bottom of that hole. And the lime is great because it helps the soil be more neutral pH, but really it helps to prevent that blossom end rot on the fruit. That's that black on the bottom of the fruit. So you always want to make sure you add the garden lime. You also want to add some kind of a fertilizer. We're using the Espoma Tomato Tone, and you also want to use about 3 tablespoons of that in the bottom of the hole. Now with tomatoes, it's one of the few fruits that you can plant deeper than any other fruit or vegetable. So when you take it out of the pot, you want to put it at the bottom of that hole, and you want to take off these bottom leaves that would be underground, and then you put the soil back. And this is so important because where each of the nodes are underground will put out more roots, and it will make a stronger tomato plant and give you much more fruit.
Now, just because you have the tomato planted, you might think, well, all of the work is done. However, there's a couple other tips that you need to be aware of. If you plant it early, like so many of us have, you want to make sure that the nights, even if they drop down to like the 40s, you still want to give them a little extra heat. We suggest things like this wonderful wall of water. It's really just a circular tube that has a lot of individual cells. So you open it up, it's usually about 2 foot tall, you slip it over the tomato, and then fill each of those cells up with water. Then during the day, while the sun is shining, it heats up the water, and then when the sun sets, that heat escapes into this rounded area that's kind of closed off and helps the tomato grow better. So it's a very simple and easy way to help tomatoes really start going. Then, after a few weeks, well, of course, they're going to start getting bigger. And so these cages are really handy. Whether you have tomatoes that are determinate or indeterminate, these help because as they grow up, they can flop over, the wind can knock them down. This really gives them a lot of protection. It also helps if you want to do some pruning, and certainly when harvest time comes, you can see right all the way around it where the ripe fruit is and ready to be picked.
So we hope that all these tips will help you have a wonderful crop this summer.